Well, we are now focusing our attention on the extreme cold impacting our region. We checked in with a local ER doctor on some common injuries they see during these weather events.
What are the most common injuries you see in the emergency room during these extreme cold weather events?
When we have a snowstorm come through or ice come through, actually the day of the storm, it's usually a little bit slower. The day after the storm, with the cold weather, and then when people are starting to get out and about, we see a large number of falls. We see car crashes, but the main thing is that we see if we get the most serious injuries is actually falls. So people fall, they'll injure a leg, an arm, break bones, they'll have a head injury. So it's slip and falls that we really see a lot of in the days after an event like this.
How does extreme cold affect the human body? I mean, what conditions should people be most aware of?
Yeah. So in addition to the slip and falls, we're getting ready to go into a very we're getting ready to go into a cold spell, and the cold spells, when they happen and people work out in the cold, we can develop hypothermia. Our body is used to being at a normal 98 degrees, but if it gets colder than that, our body starts to react a little bit differently. We've all been shivering where our body tries to make heat. But if it goes lower than that, the shivering can actually stop. We start to get some mental confusion, some slurring of our speech, some drowsiness. Those are signs that hypothermia is setting in, and those are really strong indicators that you need to get inside to a warm place to warm back up. Once you get to the confusion part, if somebody you see is outside and they're confused and they don't act quite normal, that's a time to get them to the hospital. So we would see them in the ER and treat that as an emergency.
What are the immediate treatments for frostbite or hypothermia when patients do arrive in the ER?
Yeah, so for hypothermia, we simply get them into a warm place, put warm blankets on them. We have special blankets that will put warm air over them to warm them up. For frostbite specifically, and frostbite is where the water crystals in our fingers, our toes, our nose, our ears, the water in our cells actually freezes, and it causes damage to the tissues. When we suspect a frostbite, we put the extremity into lukewarm water, so roughly body temperature water. We don't want to go much hotter than that. We want it to be lukewarm, but water actually warms it up much faster than just warm air. So we'll put it in lukewarm water.
Last question for you. What is the most important advice you'd give to the public to stay safe during this extreme cold weather?
If you ever get wet clothes in hypothermia, so you fall into some water, or your head gets wet somehow, water will pull heat out of us faster. And so it is really important, if you ever have wet clothes on and you're outside, get those wet clothes off, get dry clothes on, and remember to layer. So wear more layers than you think you may need. You can always take them off, but layer up as well. Unless you just have to be out and about, stay inside, let the snow melt, let the temperatures warm up. If you're at home in a warm environment, just stay there. Keep in mind your neighbors that may not have heat. Every year we see people that live in a house that doesn't have heat for whatever reason, and they're at risk for hypothermia as well. So check on your loved ones, your neighbors that may not have access to warm places.